I'd like to show you a little piece of code here. It's an interesting piece of code. We call it Find the Bug. And the real reason I want to show it is because it will also teach us a few more interface mechanics just to have up in your head. So let's take a look at this code. And this is code that even people that have been writing Go for a long time have made. So that's why I like it. So on line 10, we're defining a custom error type. There it is. We define the type, and on line 13, we implement the error interface using our pointer semantics. So there we are on line 13. Now, on line 18, what we do is we define some function that I'm going to make fail every time we call it. So I called it fail. You can see it returns a slice of bytes and returns our error. And on line 19, you see that we're returning nil for both of these. So in this particular case, what we're saying is fail does not fail, actually. Boy, that's funny. Fail does not fail, right? We're returning nil for the error. So there we are on line 13. Fail does not fail. I go on line 23 and I define my error value. There it is on line 23. On line 24, we call fail, which does not fail. We get the error value. We ask if there is a concrete value stored inside of error. Remember, we're returning nil. And I call this, and at runtime, the compiler, or at least the program, not the compiler, at runtime, the program is saying that there is a concrete value stored inside of ERR. And we're all going, what's going on? We're returning nil. We return no failure. Yet, from the application's point of view, there is a concrete value in there. Fail has failed. So what's happening here? What's happening is going to teach us that last little bit of interface mechanics. When we call fail, or actually we'll walk through it from line 23. On line 23, I am constructing an error interface value set to its 0 value. Remember, there we are, we're using var. But now on line 18, right, we're going to call fail on line 24, and we're going to go and execute line 19. And the value of nil is absolutely being returned. There is no doubt that nil is being returned. So we're going to be storing nil here on the assignment. Okay, there it is. Nil is being returned. But here's the interesting part. This is where that bug is. We are returning nil. But look at the return type for fail. That's the bug. We're using the concrete value directly in the signature of the function, which means that we're getting back nil. But we're getting back nil as a pointer of the custom error type. And therefore, there really is a concrete value stored inside this because we got the 0 value for a pointer. That's the bug. The bug is that anytime we're writing code and we're going to be working with errors, we're not using the custom error type. We're going to use the error interface. This is a bug that eventually everybody makes, usually very early on. We're going to use the error interface. So what does that mean now? It means now that when we returned nil for the error, not only did we return nil here, but also now we're returning nil here because we're returning the 0 value for the error interface. Remember, nil takes on the type it needs. So in this context, nil now is a 0 valued interface value. When we're using this as the return, nil now represents a nil pointer. Two different values of nil, two different types, and we get this really interesting bug that occurs.